Hello everybody, PolyB6838 with one more deck tech for the day. This time I'm going to show you guys my Legacy deck. Legacy, not many people are too familiar with that format, but it's a really fun format if you have the money and the cards for it. Basically, Legacy is one of the few formats where it's so different. There's so many different decks you can run. There's so many different cards people can use, and a lot of the cards, unfortunately, in this format are very expensive due to the fact that they are so old. Some of the cards I have proxies for right now because I'm in the process of getting them. I only need 7 more cards to have this deck finished, and there's 7 really expensive cards. So if anyone has these cards and they're willing to trade them, I would greatly appreciate it. We'll start off with the mana base. The deck I'm running is Merfolk. A lot of people talk smack about this deck, but it's actually a really good Legacy deck that Joshua Cho introduced to the format some time ago. This is one of the lands I have proxied because I don't have it yet. It is Mutavault. Basically, it's a land that taps for colorless mana, or you can pay 1 mana and it becomes a 2/2 of all creature types, which is really good in Merfolk because it becomes a Merfolk. So then you just have another body that gets boosted up by all your other Merfolk's Anthem effects. Next we have 4 Wasteland, 2 of them, I still need 2 more, I do have 2. Need to get 2 more. This card is the Legacy staple. You basically tap and sacrifice it, and you can destroy a non-basic land, which is really good in Legacy. This card is ridiculous. And the mana base for Merfolk is one of the cheaper mana bases, believe it or not, because no dual lands. It's mono blue. So I'm looking for a couple of full art islands. If anyone has those for trade or extras, I would appreciate that so I could get this all full arted. And that about sums up for the mana base. It runs exactly 20 lands. Merfolk is able to run low land because of the fact that it uses Aether Vials, which I will show you in a minute. Most Legacy decks can get pretty greedy on mana because of the ridiculous card draw in Legacy. Next, I will show you the non-creature spells. So I'm running 4 Aether Vials. This card is really good. When you play it out at the end of your upkeep, you can put a charge counter on it, and you basically tap it to put a creature card out with converted mana cost equal to the number of charge counters. So it's really good. It allows you to go short on mana. You get one of these out and you can just start pumping out Merfolk, especially because most of the deck runs 2 mana cost Merfolk, so you can get some ridiculous amount of creatures out. Next we have our counter spells. I run 4 Daze. Daze is a very good counter spell in Legacy. It's one of the free counter spells actually. You just return an island to your hand instead of paying the mana costs, and you counter the spell unless they pay 1 extra mana. Very good early game. Next we have the other free counter spell in Legacy. I need 1 more of it. I have 3. Force of Will, the $70 counter spell, I believe. Very, very, very good card. Very expensive card. I wish I would have bought them a year ago when they were like $40 because they have doubled in price. It's an uncommon. Basically, it's 5 mana counter spell, but you can pay 1 life and remove a blue card in your hand from the game instead of paying its mana cost, and it counters the spell. Very good card. They go first and they're getting a turn 1 combo. You can easily counter it if you have that in your hand. Next, I have 3 Standstill. It's a very good enchantment for 2 mana costs. You sacrifice it whenever a player plays a spell. If you do, each of that player's opponents draw 3 cards. The way Merfolk runs is you're normally not playing spells because Aether Vial does not count as playing a spell. So you can kind of play around Standstill and force your opponent to play into it. While their spell is on the stack, you can sacrifice this, drawing 3 cards, getting you to that counter spell. It's a very good enchantment. Next, I have 1 Umezawa's Jitte in the deck. I would like to get another one, preferably. If anyone has them for trade, I'm looking for this card. We'll give you great value for them. It's a very good card, has so many abilities, great against other aggro matchups, great form of control. I actually opened this in my very first pack of Magic ever when I started back, and I think it was around 03, 04. I bought a intro deck, and this was in the pack that came with the intro deck. Didn't know how much it was worth. It sat in my box cards for a long time until I got back into it, and it's still in very good condition, surprisingly, unlike most of the cards that were in that box. So I got lucky with that. And I run one Dismember, more sideboard though. But this is the FNM promo Dismember. Very nice card, the foil version. Next we'll get into the creature base. I run 2 Curse Catcher, 1 mana, 1/1 Merfolk, counter it, or I'm sorry, you sacrifice it to counter an instant or sorcery spell unless its controller pays 1 additional mana. Very good early game. Next, I run 4 Silvergill Adept, Great Merfolk card, 2 mana, 1 colorless, 1 blue, 2/1. As an additional cost to play it, you reveal a Merfolk card from your hand or pay 3 mana. Normally, I'm not really playing it. I usually Aether Vial it out, so I don't have to do that. And when it comes to play, you get to draw a card, so it's very good. Even if you do have to pay the mana for it, you usually have another Merfolk in your hand because there's a lot of cards that are Merfolk in this deck. I run 2 Phantasmal Image, very good card to just keep copying your Merfolk that you want to get out there. You can copy your Regeries with this, which I will show you. Next we have 3 Coral Helm Commander. Very good card, one of the few flyers in this deck. You level it up, it becomes a 2/3 flyer. If you level up all the way, it becomes a 4/4 flyer that gives all other Merfolk +1/+1. Starts out as a 2 mana 2/2. Next, I run 4 Master of the Pearl Trident. Other Merfolks get +1/+1 and have Island Walk. Very, very good card in this deck. Next, I have 4 Lord of Atlantis. It's basically the older version of Master of the Pearl Trident. And it's technically counted as a Merfolk now according to Magic the Gathering rules, even though it says Summon Lord. So it's basically just an alternate version of Master of the Pearl Trident. Same mana, same ability. And next we have 4 Mirror Regery, the FNM foil promo. This card is one of the best cards in the whole entire deck because you can just do crazy things with it. First off, it boosts all the other Merfolk +1/+1. And whenever you play a Merfolk spell, you may tap or untap target permanent. So you can Aether Vial out a Merfolk, then tap mana to actually play out a Merfolk, untapping your Aether Vial to tap out another Merfolk, and you can just play ridiculous combos with this card. You can also just keep tapping down your opponent's creatures as well. Next, we'll get into the sideboard. This I have not perfected yet. I'm still working on it, but it's a pretty good sideboard for Legacy. I run 2 Hydroblast. It's a 1 mana counter target spell if it's red, or destroy target permanent if it's red. Very good card. I run 2 Tidal Warrior. 1 mana, 1/1 summon Merfolk. Target land as an island until end of turn. Very good card. Against non-blue matchups, you can turn their mountain or forest into an island, making basically all of your Merfolk unblockable and just swing in for winning damage. Not too hard to swing in for 20 damage with a Merfolk deck. I also have 1 Reef Shaman, which is a 1 mana 0/2 that does the same exact thing as Tidal Warrior, except you can choose the land type. So it's about the same, you know, I'm just using it as another version to make Island Walk a possibility for my deck. I also sideboard 2 more Curse Catchers against those heavy instant and sorcery decks. High Tide, you can really shut them down with this card. I run 4 Brainstorm. I only use them in situations where card draw is really relevant and I need to outspeed an opponent. In that case, they become very good. I run 2 Tormod's Crypt. You tap, sacrifice it, remove all cards in target player's graveyard from the game. Good against Reanimator. Very good against Maverick with Knight of Reliquary and all the lands. It's good against Dredge. You know, you can just really ruin the deck with this. I run another Dismember sideboard. And I'm looking for the better version of this, but right now I just run my foil Ratchet Bomb. Good against Goblins, mirror matchups, things where they have a lot of creatures of the same exact creature type. It's good against the Legacy Miracle decks. When they entreat, you can just tap, sacrifice it, goodbye Angels. So that is my Legacy Merfolk deck. Let me know if you guys have any suggestions or comments, or if you have any of the cards I'm looking for. I would appreciate a trade, guys. Thanks, bye.